All right. So, Kate, we're going to start with you. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kate Donovan, and I work with organizations to reduce burnout so they can keep their top talent. I do that through keynotes and workshops and podcasts and books and all the fun things.
Excellent. Rosie?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosie Zelinskas, founder and CEO of No Woman Left Behind. I help women discover the leader within by empowering them in their career journey. And I am now a keynote speaker from last night, which I want to share later.
Yay, congrats. All right, Julia.
Julia Geisman, inclusion strategist, author, speaker, founder of Career Agility. My clients experience an increase in employee retention, engagement, profitability, and of course, innovation.
Dr. Sandra?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Sandra, personal energy strategist and clinical psychologist, helping people gather the resources they need to recharge and get from burnout to sustained leadership.
Excellent. Amy?
Hi, I'm Amy Goober. I'm an action coach for women, helping women learn the strategies to move forward and stay in action, virtual, in person, one-on-one and group, all kinds of ways to help women get going.
Great. Sophie?
Hi, my name's Sophie Wadsworth, and I help leaders to inspire and persuade their stakeholders in the social sector. And I do that through speaker coaching, and I do that through one-on-one work.
Excellent. All right, Julie.
Your data's talking. Are you listening? I'm Dr. Julie Allen with JLA Analytics. My clients in the HR sphere hire me when they are completely befuddled with calculating retention and turnover rates.
Excellent. Natsuya?
Good morning. I'm Natsuya Lipschutz. I'm based in New York, but originally from Japan. And I work with global leaders who want to be effective and heard by speaking clearly across different cultures. And I do that through keynote, training, private coaching, e-learning books.
Excellent. Christy?
Hello, I'm Christy Tyson. I am a university professor, a racial healing circle facilitator, and diversity trainer. And I help individuals and companies achieve their learning, influence, and growth goals.
Excellent. All right. And for everybody who's joining us, we're doing 15-second introductions. Kristen?
Good morning, wonderful friends. I'm the copywriting ghostwriter and podcast host, and I help business owners level up their consistency and visibility using their most underrated tool, their personal story.
All right. Computer killer, you're up.
Good morning, I'm Noreen Brayman, and I'm from the Smile Side of Life, Laughter and Happiness Club, helping you, your clients, your organizations, and your events go better with laughter for the health of it.
Excellent. Orly?
Good morning. I'm your facilitator of Lightbulb Moments. I help founders and early stage companies and solopreneurs turn their confusing, disjointed ideas into clear marketing messages that help them cut through the noise so their ideal customers can find them, buy them, and refer them.
Judy?
I'm a psychotherapist and speaker who helps leaders and organizations create positive vibes in 90 seconds with a powerful relationship formula without the pain or frustration of losing control. I do that through podcasting, my book, and keynote speaking.
Robbie?
Good morning, all. I help entrepreneurial women grow their business through discovering likely prospects from within their existing network. I also help you design more engaging and purpose-driven online presentations.
Lisa? We are not hearing you.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Agapis. I'm in the banking industry, and my specialty is IT governance. I make sure that we keep your bank account safe and secure and deliver new technology products to help facilitate better banking experiences.
Excellent. Pat?
Good morning. Sick with COVID, full confession, but I thought grace to show up was better than I felt compelled to be here. Don't know what I'm supposed to learn or be here for, but here we go anyway. Pat Roquet. I am Rockstar Leadership Strategist. I help leaders shine the light on their zone of genius to go from invisible to invaluable and recession-proof their careers and perhaps more importantly, help their corporations understand how to keep them happy so they stay. I do keynotes, 90-day leaps, and programs to pull it through for driving impact. Thank you.
Ah, so sorry you feel bad, but at
Showing
least
up's half the game, right?
I was gonna say, at least in Zoom, none of us can catch it. So Kezia, is that how you pronounce your name?
Hi, yes, Kezia. I don't know that I need to introduce myself in 15 seconds, but I'll try. I am a data specialist. I'm in IT. I love speaking, and right now I just got started with a tiny YouTube channel as a motivation speaker, mostly on Christianity and help other women.
That's
But
okay.
I want to get into other streams also, and that's why I found this platform, and I'm yet to get started on everything else.
All right, that's good. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Marielle? There you are.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning. My name is Mireya Agbosumonde.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see your message until now.
Yeah, I can do 15 seconds.
Seconds. Go ahead.
Passionate about making a difference, remove language barriers so business can be conducted for the best outcome for all parties involved. And I am on mommy duty. My son not feeling well this morning.
Oh, so sorry to hear that. But welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Katrina.
Hi, ladies. Sorry, I'm off camera. I'm in California. I'm a speaker, author, and publisher. I also am a business coach, so I help people make a lot more money doing what they love, putting systems in place. And I do compilation books for people who have tribes, and I run the International Speaker Network. So
Excellent. All right, Ellen.
Hey, good morning. Ellen Williams, Director of Advisory Services and ESG Services at Orion Global Solutions. I speak about ESG, sustainability, and the alignment of business processes with technologies, and that technologies are easier to use than you think.
Okay, Keisha Marie.
Good morning, everyone. The holiday season is definitely upon us, and now it's time to put the pedal to the metal. I am Keisha Marie Douglas, the veteran wing woman, the speaker, the author, the coach, the mental fitness coach, I might add, building that platform for online veteran women and active duty women as they transition from the military to a civilian life so they can make it through these holidays.
Excellent. I think everybody just moved around on me, so I think I'm calling on Alicia.
Hi, ladies. I'm Alicia. Malia invited me to this call this morning. I'm also in California, and I help entrepreneurs find clients through social media lead generation and organic engagement.
Fantastic. And speaking of Malia, you're up.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yay, Alicia, I'm so glad you came. My name is Malia. I help women in male-dominant industries find high visibility opportunities so that they can be seen as leaders and get control of the career that they so desire. I work primarily with large corporations to come in and train their women, as I am a retired engineer from Fortune 100 oil companies. So that is what I do. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you. And for people just joining us, we're doing 15-second introductions. If you put your view on gallery mode, you can see the timer. And we're going to start conversations at 9 o'clock and answer questions and shoot out topics for everyone to comment on, and particularly looking for new voices, people who have questions. So Connie, you are up for your introduction.
I thought I missed it. Okay, so my name is Connie Inukai, and I help people write their life story in pictures so that they will be remembered long after they're gone.
All right,
Thank you.
Gail.
Hi, I'm Gail Lance. I run a business called Work Matters, working with senior executives that want to transform their organizations in record time. I also host a podcast called CEO on the Go for leaders who like to learn on the go and gain a little inspiration along the way.
Leslie?
Hi, I'm Leslie Saul. I'm an architect and interior designer and recovering from a COVID person. And I just want to recommend a book called Switch by the Heath brothers, if anyone hasn't read it, about change making.
Nice. Geez, it's like COVID and everything else running through this place. So, Jerry Lynn.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Jerry Lynn Hogg. I'm a media psychologist, and I look at how media and technology influence our lives.
Nancy Berger.
Oh, hi. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nancy Berger. I'm a communication strategist and leadership coach, and I help executives and teams build healthy cultures.
Fantastic. Kathy King.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the Kathy King, the owner of the Sustainable Organizer. I am the lady that will help you take control of your space and your stuff so that you can spend more time doing the things that you really want to do.
But I love my stuff. Kathy's like, we have to talk. Okay. And Denise, I know that you just popped in, but if you're up for it, we are doing introductions. So if you're ready, you can do your introduction and then we're going to jump into our conversation.
Just gonna say good morning, everyone. Happy to be here, newcomer in my third, I think, a month now. But I'm here to learn from the best, and that's why I'm here every week. So thank you so much for giving me a time. I was former bookkeeper and now going into motivational speaking. Thank you. I hope to
Welcome.
learn a lot from the group.
It's a great group to learn from. All right, Rosie, you've had your hand up since like halfway through introductions.
Oh, I was bound and determined to be the first one today, Bobby.
All right, go for
it. This is more of a share. I just want to let everybody know that I have an amazing week. I was in Erie, Pennsylvania, doing KeyCon, so Keystone Nonprofit Conference. It was obviously in person. It went fantastic. I did my talk. I actually had the one share, I actually had an individual send me a really long email sharing their story with me because I shared my story. And I just feel so empowered because she related to the story and it was incredible. Last night, I'm actually happy to be no hair, no makeup, and in a sweatshirt because this whole week has been a whirlwind. But last night, I was at the Accounting and Finance Alliance Gala, and I was the keynote speaker. So they gave me 20 minutes. And the one tip that I will tell you, they found me on freespeakers.org. You can't charge, but you can do different things like ask for testimonials or things like that, but it has been incredible. So my tip for the day is keep going. For those new people, keep doing the work because it pays off. I have two or three talks that are already scheduled just for November and December. So I am feeling really good. So that's it. Thank you.
So were you able to get talks out of the talks that you did for free?
Yes, actually, I had two individuals saying that they're going to reach out to me because one of them has a 6,000 person organization and she wants to connect with me to come there. And at the conference, I actually connected with two individuals to come and talk to their university. So very excited.
Excellent. All right. Good work. Judy.
My question kind of goes along a little bit with Rosie's in a way. I'm wondering, I've got two things. Number one is, does anybody recommend or have any kind of an agreement or contract for doing free talks? So that's number one. And then number two is anybody familiar with the platform called Engage? So that's it.
Anybody waving at me? Robbie?
I don't have this written out that I might be able to find it, but if you're offering free or pro bono talks, Tom Singer suggested to me a while ago that you put something in there like I have the right to cancel with 30 days notice if I receive paid work, and you will be happy for me. And then we will either reschedule or I will find someone to book this point. Because like, I guess I'm not saying this perfectly, but the frame, Pat, your face is amazing. The frame here is that, you know, if 4 months from now they want to book me for some free thing, but what if I get a 3-day conference I can go to? I'm not going to miss a 3-day conference for like a 1-hour free webinar. So either, you know, I will either find someone in my network to come and do something equivalent, or I will come back and do it another time. And I've done that a bunch of times and it's worked out really well. And I actually twice bumped a client because, or, you know, a free thing because of paid work. And I felt like they were my lucky charm. Every time they rebooked, I got another paid gig.
That's good. And honestly, I think I do want to present something that would let them know that this is of high value to them, even though I'm doing it pro bono.
Yeah. And there's some other people that I've talked to who have something, and I don't have it written out either, but where it says this is the value of
Yeah.
what it is you are donating. It's
Make
not
sure you
something-
invoice them, right? I'm sorry. Make sure you invoice people, even if you're going to invoice and then say pro bono, but have an invoice to show for your time and discount the fee so that you're documenting your work, and you're still going to take expenses if there are any related to that and all that. Invoice for it.
Do you have a contract for that? Or a contract, or that's kind of what I'm wanting, is if anybody has something kind of already written out that's already kind of like a template. But Tom Singer is somebody I need to look up. Is that what you said, Robbie?
Yeah, that's who it was. His point of view was, so Tom Singer for a while was known as the conference catalyst, and he would go to conferences and do all kinds of interactive activities. And he was trying to rein in his free talks until his wife pointed out, you get new business every time you speak on a stage. And he was like, oh, so he came up with some parameters. They had to be local. I guess now I would say virtual or local. So they had to be easy. And they had to fit into his schedule, and he had to have this clause that allowed him to get out of that commitment if paid work came. And when I've had this happen, like the person was like, oh, that's great for you. Because like I had basically set it up for them to say that. And then we worked together to reschedule.
I do like the addition of, you know, and you'll be happy for me.
Because I can't give away everything for free if I'm not also getting paid work, which is why if you want me to continue to do pro bono work, then you have to be thrilled that I'm actually paid to do this work. Like it's sort of a framing of this, and I'm not awake enough to, I'm looking to look in my files and see what I can find.
Yeah.
Thank
Leslie?
you.
You're muted.
Two things. One is you should have a contract for paid speaking engagements, and it should be the same contract basically with Robbie's clause, as well as what you will be paid for should be in that contract, which is you're going to be paid by the contact list. You're going to be paid by testimonials, whatever we had talked about, you know, a few weeks ago. We had an amazing list of things that you can get from organizers. So why not make that your fee? Is that list of things. So it really should be the same contract. And things like if you're sick, what happens? You know, there's all kinds of, that should be in a regular paid speaking.
That's helpful, Leslie. Thank you.
Yeah. What rights to the recordings and all of this stuff, you know, they should be. And are you asking for things like the attendee list?
Right.
Yeah, good. That makes sense.
So there's all kinds of things that you can get from that. All right, Robbie?
I found a clause that I had sent in an email. I just dropped it in chat.
Thank you.
So I have something, I wasn't sure how to handle this or whether I needed to do anything. So my IP, my like big concept has finally gotten out there. It was in an NPR interview, and I'm seeing it all over the place, and I'm seeing fan art being created, which is really fun. And then I'm searching LinkedIn for keywords, and I find this German language LinkedIn post, and I somehow realized that that's what they're talking. I don't speak German. And I realized that there's these two women in Germany who presented on my concept as part of a networking thing for a group of women, interestingly enough, called Innovative Women. And I was like, oh, so then I wrote a little note on that, and I found that they mentioned the speakers. So then I went to the speakers pages and I found one of them talking about it. Well, and someone liked my response. And then the attendee was like, that's amazing. Because meanwhile, I'm like, oh, and I wrote a book on this topic and a TEDx. So the participant sent me a photo of the women presenting, doing my stance, having like a visual of it. I want the idea to get out there. It is a sticky concept. It's really easy to learn it and immediately teach it. But is there anything I should be doing to better make sure that I'm credited back? Like, I'm doing what I can to sort of follow up and reach out to people. But I also saw a post where a woman said, I heard this from a friend who heard it from her student, who heard it from NPR, who heard it from me. So like her write-up was perfect, and she didn't even hear the interview. She knew exactly what the concept was. So she's never going to credit me because, she would not even have known, it's like too removed. So any thoughts on, it's a good problem to have, but how do I make sure business comes from this and not just, I'm glad people are going to do better in the world because of the concept, but how do I make sure I'm connected back to it?
Yeah. This is actually what I call a search engine optimization problem too. It's like anytime anybody searches the concept, you need to come up.
Oh, I'm all over it. If you search
I
the
was gonna
concept,
say, and I can't imagine that you don't.
If you search like croissant and networking, or croissants and bagels and networking, or anything related to bagels and networking, like videos, interviews, podcasts, books, TEDx. So if anyone is even curious, they'll find it. But no one necessarily was curious. They were like, this is a really cool thing I heard. And then they write up a little thing.
Bobby, somebody just put in the chat the name of a IP lawyer. I think it's a really good idea, if you haven't already, to just consult with an IP attorney, and just because whatever happens on your journey with this, it's just good to know I can pick up the phone and call this person. I have a rapport. We had a coffee, and I may not be ready to hire them right now for the $500 an hour, but when I started working more and getting more corporate work, I just got hooked up with an attorney here in Boston, just so I had somebody to call if I needed them. So I think that's a really smart idea.
I just saw someone say, oh my God, you're the croissants and bagels author. Yeah, I'll put the information in chat so you know what it is I'm talking about. That is who I am.
Julie's got it.
Robbie, so this is Rosie. I totally agree with your concept, but I feel that so many people do that. So for example, Jack Canfield, he's got like the, principles of success. I saw another speaker take 14 of the principles, because he's got a ton of them. And then she presented them, and she never, and I knew it because I read his book, but she never credited him with those principles, and they were his principles. So she took an excerpt, and I see people do that all the time. So I don't know how, an IP lawyer can control that.
Well, there's a difference between trademarks and copyrights as well.
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily fight people in court to stop them from talking about it, since I want them to talk about it. I see Leslie's waving her hand. So, all right, Leslie, I see you.
So, excuse my voice. You've heard of Ripple networking, right? So Ripple networking, it's just different. You're not asking name, rank, and serial number. You're asking what's your superpower and stuff when you're in a conversation with people. It's really cool, and it's sort of a technique of networking. Spin forward, I was trained in that, and then spin forward, I'm doing an application for a fellowship, and it asks what's your ripple effect, and so the ripple effect is to show what your ideas, how people have adopted them. And so especially in the design world, I was one of the first, but I never claimed to be the first to do a particular thing. Designers would call me and say, how'd you do that? I would tell them and they would do it. And it never struck me, oh, that's my, in essence, when you're then describing what is your ripple effect, those projects are rippled from you. And so I'm thinking that you create your ripple document. Like, these are the people who've stolen my ideas, or reused my ideas, or so that in some ways you're giving them credit by giving yourself credit. Does that make sense?
Well, I have to say one of the things I have done, which is similar to that, and anyone here can take this advice. I'm constantly doing searches for the last 24 hours on all kinds of social media channels. And then I have a little canned response that's like, oh, I'm so glad you loved my NPR interview. By the way, I also have a book and a TEDx, and and links are on my website. Like, or if they didn't even have the interview, I'm like, oh, did you know there's a whole interview about that? So I've been taking a positive spin approach to this, but yeah, I think I'm torn because I don't want to like stop people from talking about it. I don't want to like be like, but, and by the way, no one's going to use the name per se, because I own the website, I own the book, I own so I don't know. It's a really tricky question for me. Thank you though for helping me think about it.
Robbie, one of the things that that I have run into being in the training and development world for many, many years, L&D world, concepts are difficult to protect. It's the content and the way you present it that is easier to copyright. So just know that concepts are squishy.
Mm-hmm.
But branded concepts are different.
Yeah.
And I agree, Robbie, you branded your concept. You have a book.
Yeah.
Do you have a trademark on it?
No.
I would look into it just to be able to say this is my trademarked concept.
I just don't know if I want to defend it. That's why I've resisted doing it.
Yeah.
This is
but you can also register it. You can register it, which is well, I guess that's more titles that
Yeah.
you register.
There's copyrights. Your content is copyrighted
Oh, yeah.
the minute you create it.
Yes.
Quickly, when you're in networking events, there's people who are standing those tight clusters, those shoulder huddles that are impossible to break into. That's the bagel. But if someone shifts their body language to make space for others to join, that's the croissant. So be the croissant.
All right, Julia, you're up next.
So I just wanted to mention that I used Talkadot twice last week, and it was really helpful in getting feedback, getting getting postable graphics. The other thing that I spoke last week at the Women in Tech conference here in Boston, and it was a free session. And one of the things that I did, they used an app called Hoova.
Mm-hmm.
And before the session, I wrote an email to everybody who was registered for the session for my workshop to thank them for signing up. Then afterwards, I wrote them another email that said, hey, thanks a lot, et cetera, I really appreciate your active participation. And then I linked into everybody. And then from there, I invited them, they accepted. And then I said, oh, by the way, do you think that this workshop would be a valuable addition or an offering for your women's ERG, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a multiple tiered approach, but it was definitely a follow-up. And I have gotten, I've gotten feedback or responses from that. So I just wanted to offer up the possibility. Number one, Talkadot's great because it helps build your email list. It gives you specific data that you can use. It's easy for everybody to use. And then once you get, then you have their contact list, then you can follow, their contact information, then you can follow up. But it's the constant touching, even though it was a freebie, it is opening doors, but you really have to follow up before, during, and after. So I just wanted to share that.
And just so everybody knows, the link to Talkadot is in the speaker newsletter this week, as well as an example of the report. Jen Koken actually shared with us the link to her actual report if you want to see what it produces. And also the Talkadot team reached out to me and said, anybody that signs up through Innovation Women, they're actually giving you access to their pro version until the middle of December. So if you have signed up with Talkadot or you are going to sign up with Talkadot and you put in Innovation Women, they will actually turn on the pro version for you, which doesn't limit the number of leads that you can grab. They want to show you what they can do. And I applaud that. I'm actually using it myself this afternoon with a presentation that I'm doing. And I really like how it works. It's a great feedback tool. It's a great way to show the event organizers that you have value, that people want you to come back, and to collect testimonials and to collect leads. So it's like good tool all in one. So-
Yeah, and it's easy to use. The one thing I will mention to you that I discovered is that in the offer, there's a code. They allow you to offer something as a giveaway in exchange for responding to the evaluation. And if that offer name or code name is misspelled, people will not be able to download the offer or whatever you're giving away. And I ran into that multiple times with some of the participants. I reached out to them, hey, do you know you have an error message? And they told me that that was the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why my code word on mine is drive. I figured it's easy for people to spell.
Well, snow was one of my code words. And do you think people would get that wrong? Yeah.
Okay.
So there we
All right. Thanks, Julia. Orly?
Hi, everybody. Good morning. It's nice to be back. I've had a lot of conflicts on Fridays for some reason. One of the issues is they're replacing the roof on my entire apartment complex, and it's been an adventure. That's all I have to say. Anyway, I just wanted to do a little shout out to Kristen, who I'm going to be on her podcast on November 15th. We actually had to reschedule because of the roofing issue. So thank you, Kristen. Looking forward to that. I'm also going to be on This Week with Sabir on November 16th. And then next week, I wanted to let you guys know that I will be a panelist on the female roundtable. And I will put the link in the chat. And it looks like they've got hundreds of people signed up. So it should be really interesting. We're meeting on Sunday to talk about, kind of the direction. But anyway, so a lot of speaking. And one of the things I wanted to mention also is Kat. I don't know if Kat Frey is on the call. I think she is.
She's actually here in the Boston yesterday and today doing some client work. So she's not going to be here today.
Okay.
Was there a question already?
Well, no, I wanted to give her a shout out as well, because she's doing a LinkedIn Boost group. And if anybody, and so basically every Tuesday you send her the link to your post. And then on Wednesday, people engage on your post, and it's really helped my post to get elevated. On average, I'm getting close to 300 for each post. Anyway, so if anybody's interested, I'm happy to just email me, and I will connect you. I will send it to Kat, because we're always looking for more people.
Yeah, can you drop the link or whatever into the chat?
Well, I think it is not really a link. It's
okay.
you have to connect with Kat, and then she puts it on the, it's like it's a little bit of a process. So I don't have a link other than her. Okay. I mean, I can put her email, but I think she'd rather works. I just
whatever.
Sorry,
works.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a question?
Oh, there was actually a question, and now let me see if I can remember what it is. I may have to come back to that.
That's all right.
Sorry, it's still early for me. Okay,
that's okay. And just for everybody, Orly, you probably missed it the last few weeks. We're trying to get the shout outs and stuff into the chat, and go in favor of questions and topics so that we can add value, especially for new people who might not know the folks involved. So Pat,
Got
you're up.
got it. Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. I'll make sure to do that next time.
Pat, you're up.
Good morning. So piggybacking on the free talks, I became a certified speaker by Google for a program called I Am Remarkable. I don't know if anyone's heard of it or not. Have you? No? Bobby's shaking her head. Okay. I sat in the audience about 4 years ago and had goosebumps and tears in my eyes. It just touched my heart, and worked for years to try to get on the list, and I got approved. So now it's a free talk, 60 to 90 minutes, and it's about teaching people the empowerment that you deserve, and it's your responsibility to self-promote, and that it's not bragging if it's true, etc. And so I felt it was great because it started for women and minorities, or I hate the word minorities, underrepresented, but the introverts are going gaga over it. And I'm learning to use it for reopening doors with folks who maybe didn't hire me the first time, or maybe they did, but it's been a little dormant for the last 6 months. And it's been a great place to go back and reinvigorate conversation. And the other thing that I'm doing, and I'm suggesting as a tip for anybody here, start using polls consistently. Ask the same question in everything you do, to start gathering data for something that's important and relevant, where you can be the thought leader and the expert on it. So in other words, I put polls in, it's kind of like a supplement to what Google provided. And so I ask people, how important is it on a scale of 1 to 5 that you self-promote? And they always will, 4 or 5 it, right? People know it's important. And then how comfortable are you in speaking up for yourself? And the scores are often zeros, like 1s and 2s. So it gives us food for thought in the conversation. It also gives us food for thought because when I do it for companies, I require them, we talked about the contract, they require them to provide me with the poll and the chat transcript, because now I can gather the data. And then I also require that we do a debrief. So the 3 magic words, if I can share with you, is our process is. Right. So even if you're doing a complimentary talk, our process is, I'm happy to gift you 1 hour of our time. We will do a complimentary strategy session up front to make sure each meets your goals and the audience. And our process is, you will provide blank, blank, right? So the poll, the chat, and time for a 1 hour debrief with your team to go over learnings and see where we can go with next steps to work together. Ta-da! I hope that was helpful. It's been working. And the topic's awesome. If anybody wants to come in it, I'm actually, I wish I had my link up, but I am in the process of setting one with COVID. I lost all track of time, but I'm in the process of setting up a new next session of it. If anybody's interested in just coming on and joining, ping me on LinkedIn and I'm happy to keep you in touch. Thank you.
I was going to say, drop your LinkedIn into the chat so people can connect. And that's true for anybody. If you've got something that you want to share, drop it in the chat and I will try to remind everybody at the end that you can click on the 3 dots and save the chat, so you have all of that information in one place. All right, Amy, you're up.
Yep. Hi. Question for you experts. I am running a half-day workshop next week, paid, which is like woo woo for me. So very exciting. And I'm just wondering what, I kind of have it all set, but then I thought this morning, I got to hear what they have to say. I'd love to know what is acceptable for self-promotion, just piggybacking on that, when you're being a paid speaker. And, this organization really matters to me. So I don't want to come across as like, go here, do this, I've got this. I do have it set up with Textaful that they can text and get on my email list. I'm just wondering what ideas you have. I don't want to, it's more important to me that that the clients are happy, but I also don't want to pass up an opportunity.
Yeah. And I always say my biggest advice is make sure whatever you do, if you're in that situation, you're talking with your event organizer, your producer, and also looking at what other people have done in the past at that particular event, if you have that option. Annie, you're raising your hand. So Annie,
Yeah.
welcome back.
Thank you. So good to see everybody. Hey, Amy, everybody has a different opinion. I'm going to give you mine, right or wrong. Be excellent, period. You don't have to sell anything. I never sell anything and I sell a ton. If you are excellent, if we love you and you leave us wanting more, we will buy from you. Those people that sell will get a sale that day and they will lose. I'm there for relationships, 10-year relationships where they're hiring you again and again and referring you. Be amazing, love them, give to them, and they will come back tenfold to you.
Bobby, the other thing that you have, that's great advice, Annie. The other thing is that you've talked about breadcrumbs, you know, where you talk about what you've experienced when you've done the workshop, what clients have gained, but it's embedded in the workshop itself, which kind of, Bobby, you want to correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, I
on
mean,
this,
I've
on my
talked
answer?
in the past about breadcrumbs, and I'm not, and I this week saw a speaker who took breadcrumbs to the, I would say, whole bakery level. It was so over the top. You know, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, that I went into a little bit of a state of shock, and said, oh dear God, I hope that when I've talked about, you know, spreading a few breadcrumbs amongst your speech, you know, especially when you're in the Q&A section, dear God, I hope that nobody ever took it to mean what I saw demonstrated this week. I saw somebody who turned what was probably I'll get to you, Robbie, I swear. I saw somebody do a presentation that was probably 6 minutes of value that took over 2 hours because they spent so much time selling and patting themselves on the back and talking about all of the things that they've done. And I think that that really worked against them. And it was not a fun presentation to sit in, and it really negated all of the value. So, you know, what Annie was saying, I heartily recommend. Yes, absolutely. Be excellent, be fabulous, give a great presentation. You will always come out better in the end. And if you do decide to sow a few breadcrumbs along the way, talking about how you work with different companies, it has to be integrated into the whole of your presentation. It cannot be so obvious. I talk about it in terms of the art of the subtle sell. It's in one of the knowledge sessions that's recorded in the green room. But just be super careful.
Wouldn't that just be for example, when I did this with so-and-so, this is what happened, as opposed to, look at what I did.
Yes, definitely. Robbie?
Yeah, and also if you just,
I'm trying desperately to keep it so that not everybody's stepping all over each other. All right. And also, you know, new people, let's not have always the same folks answering. So, Robbie?
I agree with everything that's been said. I'm going to add one more thing, which is don't solve their problem in that one talk. So they have come in with a small problem, which is their understanding of the problem. But you know, there's a way more they need to be handling. So make sure that in your talk, you are solving the small problem, but you're also dropping in sort of the revelation that there's more to the story and that you can help with more of the story. So just like if you can solve their problem in a 1 hour talk, then they'll never come back to you. There's no reason for them to reach out to you. There's no follow-on business.
I will also say that I saw a presentation. The Women in Tech Summit came here to Boston, and they had a bunch of innovation women speakers, one of whom wrote a book on negotiation and negotiating your salary. And during the Q&A session, someone asked a question, and the speaker said, I'm not going to answer that. You have to buy my book. And at that moment, the event organizer reached out and grabbed my arm and said, she will never be on my stage again. And I went, I
think I was there.
Yeah, I think you might have been, actually.
I think I was one of the speakers at that particular thing. And that was an awkward moment. There's a lot of selling going on.
Absolutely. So
Bobby, just to follow up, is it okay to say text this to this if you want to stay connected and learn more strategies and tips? Like, can you gather their email address that way? Or is that like a no?
But you also need to check in with the conference organizer and say to them, you know, especially if you're speaking, you're getting paid to speak.
Mhm.
You know, there are lines, you know, like sometimes the event organizers will say, you know, we are paying you to speak. We are not paying you to sell. If you want to sell, you'll go somewhere else. And
Yeah.
some of them actually have written into their contracts, there will be no pitches from the stage. There will be no
Right.
collection of things. So you need to check in on what is acceptable, what others that are speaking at to the same audience are doing. You know, you can also do the, hey, if you want to connect with me, I'll be at the back of the room afterwards.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
You know,
Yeah, so
there's all
I-
kinds of things
yeah.
like that.
I asked her if I would receive a list of attendees, and she said, we don't do that because it's an organization, but you can send around paper if people want to give you their email. So I was like, okay.
Clipboard method.
You know,
All right.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Sophie.
Hi, everybody. It's fun to be here for the first time. And I'm in year 2 as a consultant. So I actually joined up last year and got swept into this word of mouth, you know, the roller coaster, I think most of you. And it's really fun to hear what you all do. So my question is, since I am a speaker, I was a nonprofit executive, and my consulting is around coaching speakers, leaders in the social sector. Is best, if this is an appropriate question, Bobby, best gigs to look for that are easy to get, where I might speak about storytelling and public speaking in the social sector. And I mean B Corps, nonprofits, socially responsible businesses. If you have ideas for best, easy to get gigs where I don't have to, you know, do lots of hoops, I would love to hear. How's that for a question?
So are there organizations that you already belong to?
I have recently joined Massachusetts Nonprofit Network.
Okay.
So I went to their conference this year for the first time. That's the irony when you're a nonprofit ED, you don't have time to do everything. So I could do that next fall. That's the only one that comes right to mind that's of substance as far as.
Yeah, I
stage.
usually say the easiest gigs for us to get are the places where we already are a member, where we
Mhm.
already
Mhm.
have been to the conference.
Mhm.
You know, if you go to a conference and you look up on stage and you see who is there, you can say to a conference organizer, hey, I was there. I saw this
Yeah.
was missing. I would like to put myself forward. So those are always the easiest gigs to get. Other ideas, Orly?
Yeah, so hi Sophie, welcome to this wonderful group. Where are you based out of, Sophie?
Oh, I'm in the Boston area.
Boston, okay, because the B Corp was actually created in Pennsylvania. I live outside of Philadelphia, and they're in Wayne, PA. I will post in the chat, I'll put the link to B Corp because they list all these companies there. There's also, I'm very involved in the sustainable ecosystem here in Philadelphia. So there's the Sustainable Business Network, there's a national one, there's one in California. So I'd be happy to talk to you more about that offline. If you want to reach out to me, I can give you some more ideas, but B Corp is a great place to begin. Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you. And I should say I've done over 10 podcasts in the last year, and I spoke with the women in WITI, the Women in Technology. I was actually their MC. That was interesting. A contract would have been helpful, and it was a great experience. So thanks, Orly. That's really, really helpful.
Happy to. Yeah.
Okay. Nancy.
Hi, I just want to say one thing about what we were talking about with selling. So for instance, I'm giving a talk, and in the talk, that is, I'm not being paid for, I'm teaching a strategy for reframing limiting beliefs patterns. That strategy is something I also teach in an online course that I created. So I asked the person that hired me to do the talk if it would be okay, since it is part of my digital course, if I gave information about the digital course at the end. And they said, of course, it's aligned, right? So if you're doing something that's aligned with taking a next step, I don't think it's as icky, as long as you, of course, ask the question first. Okay, the second thing I just want to offer everybody, there's a micro consulting platform called Wisly. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It's a Singapore, Wisely. It's a Singapore-based platform, and I'll put the information in the chat. And they have experts that, you create a profile on the platform, and then businesses will reach out and ask a question, and you answer the question. You are not paid in dollars. You get like Wisely coins or something, whatever. I talked to the founder. She reached out to me through LinkedIn. We had a conversation. I checked it out. I made sure it felt legit. I wasn't going to get involved in it if it wasn't. But long story short, it is legit, and I'm having an interesting time with it because, it's giving me opportunities to speak and to cut my teeth. And after a couple months on there of, providing content, doing little video snippets to answer questions that people ask me, they asked me if I would do a live learning webinar. So the point is, these kinds of things can lead to other opportunities. And so I would encourage everybody to check it out. If you're a thought leader on something, a subject matter expert, for me, it is, communication strategy and reframing fear-based thinking and whatever. So that's my profile, but I would encourage you to sort of check it out and see if it might be something that would be a good exercise for you to get more exposure, to get some speaking chops, to, whatever. So I just offer that up.
Great. Can you drop it into the chat? Because I tried like 3 different ways to spell it when I was searching on Google, and I'm pretty sure the things I came up with were not what you were talking about. All right. Malia.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So kind of, it seems like a theme today is like free speaking. So I just wanted to kind of echo that before I ask my question, because I'm doing a free event in November, and I asked the organizer for her list of corporate sponsors. And so she's introducing me to all of her corporate sponsors, and we have an introduction, a video introduction meeting scheduled today with United Airlines. So that is great. It's going well. So when you do things for free, like ask for what you want, because you never know what you'll get. And so these are the first of many introductions that I'm excited about. I also use the attendee list on LinkedIn to send my lead magnet to. So I just contact everybody who's registered for the event and tell them I'm speaking. And I want to customize my presentation to their needs if they can fill out a survey. And that puts them on my email list before the event, so I can start warming them up for eventually the cohort that I want to sell them after the event.
Nice.
So just wanted to share that with you guys. Free, make it work for you. But I wanted to see, does anybody do referrals? So like, I know referrals is a big thing in our industry. Does anybody give referral credits, and or referral bonuses, and how do you do that? Because that's something I want to offer, is if anybody brings me a contact that leads to a contract, I want to be able to give them part of that contract, or at least a bonus for it. So I'm just trying to figure out like best practices for doing that.
Yeah, and I work in public relations, and some public relations agencies have referral fees and stuff that they pay to other PR firms. And, often it's a 10% of the contract type thing, which can be pretty significant.
Okay, I was thinking 10%. And I price my services high enough to where I can cover like business growth and expenses and things like referral. So I'm happy to give 10%. And then just like, that's what I tie to the Lord. So I feel okay with that. But
Annie
like,
is saying she's paying agents 25 to 30%.
oh, that's ridiculous. This is not 50%. Oh my gosh.
But Annie, is that for speaking fees? Like, because that is pretty
Yes,
standard.
I'm saying
for
10 to 25% if it's just a friend referring me or acquaintance. But agents charge me 25 to 30% for speaking engagements. So I'm just trying to tell you where it's at.
Yeah, because that's pretty standard for anybody who is placing speakers. Any speakers bureau, they're generally doing 20 to 30%.
Okay. Okay, this is good to know. And is like, how do you tell people that this is what you have for them? Or like, I don't know. I want everybody to know so that if their uncle is a director of some large company and they connect me, like, I'm not really sure how to do that.
Yeah, I find a lot of times it's just a, hey, this is a way for me to give you money. I give referral fees if anybody is refers me business, and as part of a conversation, asking them if they are a professional or if they're in business themselves, who is their perfect client. And then they will probably be compelled to ask you who your perfect client is. And that's a great place to dump in. Oh, by the way, I pay a referral fee.
Bobby,
Okay.
one of the things that I've used in the past is it depends upon the degree to which the referrer is engaged in the quote sales process. So if it's just say, hey, here's a name, here's somebody, I'll do a quick intro, that's one level. But if they are really actively involved in promoting what I'm doing, et cetera, then I give them a higher referral fee.
Yeah, that's a collaborator fee probably.
Oh,
So
that's a good way of putting it. Thanks.
Yep, exactly. Did that help?
Yes, thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
so
And
much.
as I mentioned at the start, when we were joining, and I also dropped it into the chat, I'd love to try breakout rooms with this group. And, a number of people have said, hey, I want to, spend more time talking to other members of the organization. So my suggestion is that, we're going to do breakout rooms, and, stick around if you'd like to meet some of the other members in small groups. What I'm going to do is break it up into very small groups, probably only 4 or 5 people per group, and talk about what you're focusing on professionally. Talk about what's challenging you right now. And this is the opportunity to do this. What I would suggest, unless people have some other idea inside the group, is start alphabetically by last name with the people in your group. And what we're going to do is we're going to allow people to go in and meet up with other folks and talk to each other. So I'm going to set up, I think it's, how many people we have here? 47 people today. So 47 divided by, yep, Leslie, you had a,
You don't have to actually do divided by, just keep toggling the room number up, and on the bottom, it'll tell you when it gets to 4 to 5 per room.
Yep. Yep. You don't want me doing math, but, and Leslie.
10 times 5 is 50.
Yes.
So you-
Yep.
and-
Absolutely. All
And
right. So
a tip for folks who are doing this is you want to do misdirection. So you would have someone else tell a story or answer a question while you're setting up the rooms, so we don't have to watch you mutter.
all right, we're going to send people off. If you can accept the room and go off, have fun and get to know each other a little bit. And I'm going to set these rooms up for 10 minutes. I know that sounds like a very long time, but if there's a problem, raise your hand. We'll come visit. Off we go. I already see. Yeah, I already see that Noreen has her hand raised if there's some learnings to share. So any other learnings to share, raise your hand. And Noreen, what did your group learn today that you want to share the rest of the class?
Well, in that short period of time, we were able to discover all the places that we connected. It turned out that we were 3 storytellers, people with perhaps English major backgrounds and writing experience. It was kind of remarkable that the 3 of us all were able to share so quickly, and we've all said we're going to connect with each other outside.
Awesome. We love it when people make speaker friends. Yay. All right. I see Elaine raising her hand.
I just want to say hi. It's great to be back. And Noreen and I have been like trying to connect, and we finally got to connect, and it's just so delicious. So I just encourage everybody, even if it's just like one innovation person a week, do it, because it's just delicious and fabulous. And I'm just so excited to be in this amazing tribe. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, Orly.
Yeah, so I knew two of the people, but not one. And so it was nice to meet somebody new, Abby. Yes, I also think maybe we might need either more time or less people, because there just wasn't enough time to get everybody's. And since my last name starts with a Z, guess who went last? So, but what I
you get to
did,
talk all the time anyway, so.
well, that is true. Yeah, guilty as charged. But the other thing I wanted to mention, and because DEI came up because Julia was on the call, and it turns out that I actually am part of this allies group, and it's this woman who started DEI. It's like, oh my gosh, this is just launched. She's in Philadelphia, and I just need to go find it and put it on the chat, but it's going to be a national platform where people can actually ask questions and interact and have conversations. And she's just like this awesome person and super energetic. I actually think that she would be a really good person to be on as a speaker friend. So I think I'm gonna reach out to her. So if anybody's interested, I will put that in the chat. Yes, should I do that?
Yep. Sure
Okay,
thing.
great.
All right, gang, it's 10 o'clock. I know people have 10 o'clock meetings, so don't forget you can save the chat. And to answer someone's question, yes, when you save the chat, you are saving the chat that you participated in. So it will save the chat from your breakout room for you when you download it. So in other words, if someone else is sending you the chat, you're going to see the chat from their breakout room, not necessarily yours. But if
It's
you
not
save the
it's
chat.
Bobby, it's not the breakout room, it's the general session where we're all together. So
Yes.
it will be continuous despite
Yes,
the fact
it will show you whatever chat that you have participated in. So it will create one long chat that you are saving, main room to breakout room and back to main room again. So
That's what I wanted to know.
whatever you participate in, it will show you. So, and if you go into the chat, click on the three dots, you can save the chat to your desktop. That's the word, desktop. Yes. All right. So have a great weekend, everybody. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Have a terrific Halloween for those who celebrate, or have a good time with it anyway. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.